Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I want to share with you my homeschool curriculum choices for my upcoming second grader for the 2021-2022 school year. So I'm basically going to be sharing with you the choices that we're making for our math and language arts. If you followed me for any amount of time, you know that I cover all of my kids all together in our morning basket time. We cover our history, our science, poetry, art, things like that we're doing all together regardless of age. So I'm really just going to be sharing with you the things that I have planned for him for the math and for our language arts. So let's go ahead and get started. So we have for our math, we have our Saxon Math 3. And so yes, we are doing Math 3. It is appropriate for a second grader. My experience is you always go up one grade level per the curriculum. So even though we're in second grade, we are going to be doing Math 3. And this is a spiral approach. So I've had this for my two previous boys and we've gone through this. This is just the parent's guide. It kind of has a quote unquote script for you. If if you're coming into this and you've never homeschooled before and you're unsure of how you're going to teach certain subjects, this is great because you have a script in there that you can follow as far as what to say, how to teach certain things. Being that this is my third time, I'm going to look at what it is, kind of scroll through it really quick and kind of, get a general idea of what I'm teaching, but I'm not going to hold myself to the script. So you have it there if it will make you feel comfortable, but you don't have to stick to it if you feel it is unnecessary. So I do like that, if I feel like I need something or a little help in trying to get something to really click in their heads, I can refer to it. If I don't know, kind of learned how my kids learn best, I kind of stick with the approach that I've found already. But I like having it there as a crutch or a fallback plan in case I need it, but I'm not a slave to it. So this is what it looks like. It's not flashy, it's not fancy. Sorry, I've got things falling out from previous years that I've tucked into my book here. So we have things right here, a lesson preparation. Honestly, guys, I don't prepare really anything. The first time when I go to teach a math lesson, the first time that I'm looking at what I'm teaching them is the moment that I'm pulling out the book and actually teaching them. So that may not be your style or may not allow you to feel comfortable, but I don't do any preparation. This is, to me, a really pull out and go kind of curriculum. I find that I can either pull these things together on a whim by being available in my schoolroom, or I can find a way to work it out without actually doing what it said to do the night before or to prepare for it. So we just kind of wing it. We go with it. But if you're a planner, if you want to have things planned, this is something good to look at the night before. If you're planning on the weekends, whatever it is, you can look at this and get some things ready for your lesson. So that's really for you prepping for the lesson. Then it has a meeting section. And this, again, if you've watched any of my curriculum videos of kind of going over Saxon, this is a continual thing where you're doing daily. And really this curriculum, Math 3, is really where that ends. This is the last time. It's kind of like the last year where we are reinforcing some key concepts, like going over the calendar and making sure they've got a really good grasp on the months and the days of the week and how to do the year and write the date. You're going over how to tell the temperature, you're counting, doing skip counting or counting by 5s and 25s and 100s and 2s and odds and evens, different things where it's making sure that they know how to count certain different ways. They have a pattern that they have to figure out, and those get, trickier as the year goes on. They're learning how to do the clock. And then they always have a problem of the day. So this is kind of like a word problem. And obviously it starts out very simple and it gets more difficult as the year goes on, but they have to read a little blurb and then solve the problem. So this is something that you do with them each and every day. Again, the counting. If my kids have their 2s or their 5s or whatever it is down, we might do that once a week. We're not necessarily doing it every day. So use your judgment on what your kids are struggling with, their weaknesses, strengths. Don't feel like you have to do all of this if your kids got it. But that's the meeting. And it kind of goes hand in hand. Oh, here's an example. I left that in there. It's a meeting strip. And so a lot of those things are covered on this meeting strip. There's a a paper in this book where you can make a copy. Obviously, this one did not print out very dark, but I would fill in some things like the pattern and some coins and different things like that for them to have to figure it out, the problem of the day. So these, a lot of times we're tackling the meeting part of the lesson through this meeting strip, and most of my kids get to a point where they can actually do this meeting strip on their own, and I can just check it really quick, so I don't even have to be present for that. So I do like that, where they can kind of do some of those things on their own. The other aspect of it is that you can buy a calendar. And so here they have just a blank calendar. They'll put the month and then they'll fill in the date. And then I think maybe underneath they're filling in the temperature from looking at the thermometer and doing different things in there. But it's mainly just, we graph some birthdays, and here's the other side of it where we ask maybe 20 people their birthday and then we graph it. It just has some different activities in this meeting book that we'll go through as well as part of the meeting. So that's handy to have as well for the meeting. Now, after you get through the meeting, like I said, it does have a sort of script in it. But here, this particular lesson is teaching about how to multiply by 2. So you're going to see the bolded words, or what I would or could say, and then how they should act, or how they might answer, or some things that I might want to get. It looks like since they're multiplying by 2, it looks like we might, if you had crackers, it suggested maybe get some crackers and practice with multiplying with crackers. A lot of times I do it with Skittles or M&Ms. Kids are always a fan of the candy. So, and that kind of gets their attitudes and, everything a little bit better because I let them eat a few as well. But you'll see that they have just the, what I can say, and it walks me through the lesson. Now, again, if you know how to teach it, you're not needing to rely on the scripts, then don't. Just teach your kids how to multiply by 2. It's nice to have, but you don't have to just stick with it the entire time. It also goes over some practice problems. So each day the kids do have a math fact practice worksheet. So it might be some addition problems, subtraction problems. So this is the guide. This is the parent guide that I use to tell me like what I need to teach them for the day. Now, what you would want to buy might be the meeting book, or it could just be a calendar, or, a printout of a calendar. You wouldn't necessarily, just drop that. Sorry. You wouldn't necessarily have to have like that particular one. It could be something that you could easily reproduce from just like a quick Google search and find a calendar. But so I've used that for my previous 2. I'll use it for Ezra, and I'll use it for Eden when she is in 2nd grade as well. The only thing that I did need to purchase this year were these, the student workbooks. So it comes bound together, all these 3 things together, I think around $40. And it has the worksheets that they're going to go through. So it's in these. I rip them out each day. Actually, I've shared how I plan. I plan a week at a time. So over the weekend, I would go through and pull out that week's worth of lessons, and I put them into little manila folders. And so these are the worksheets you do on Monday, and here's your Tuesday folder, your Wednesday folder, Thursday, Friday. And so I would pull them out because, it's not really fun to have this notebook that keeps wanting to fold out. So it's perforated, and you can pull them out and have them ready. So these are what the worksheets look like here. And they're just real simple. It has an A. I believe they do this here. I think they do. Have an A and B side. We only ever do the A side. I don't feel that it's necessary to keep, making them work. So they'll do just this where they're writing their name and the date. And then they usually have anywhere from 5 to 8 problems that they're going to answer based on the concepts that they've been covering thus far. So it is a spiral approach in that there's lots of built-in review in this curriculum, which is one of the reasons why I really do like it. So each day they're going to have a worksheet, and then once they get further on, this was the math fact worksheet that I was talking about. They're going to have about 25 math facts that they're going to practice. I know some people love these, some people hate these. We tend to err on the side that we like them because I think it is important to have just some basic addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division problems memorized. So we do these every day. The kids, you know, in the beginning they do whine and complain, and after that, once they realize that they actually know them and can finish them in like 1 to 2 minutes, they're much better with it. They just sit down and they consider that part of their independent work, because I don't have to sit with them while they do that, which is great. So if I'm working with another kiddo, they can be working on their math fact worksheet. And another thing is like in the curriculum, I just want to add this little tidbit, I don't time them. So a lot of curriculums will tell you to time them, and I found that it really stressed my kids out, so I don't time them. I'm not worried of whether or not they can answer all 25 in less than 60 seconds. What I want them to know is just what the answers are. So if they can do it in 30 seconds, great. If they can do it in 3 minutes and 30 seconds, I'm okay with that too. 5 minutes, whatever. I just want them to know the facts. And you'll see that as time goes, they do really pick up on them a lot faster. And you don't even have to worry about timing, because just over time, they naturally get faster and better at doing the worksheet. So just doing them is enough for me. All right, so that's all I have for math. We're just doing the Saxon Math 3. So I'll go ahead and move on to our language curriculum. And this is kind of twofold. I have two little things that I do. And I'll start with the first one. It is the first language lesson. So for grade 1, he did level 1. And now for grade 2, we're going to be doing level 2 of the first language lessons for the well-trained mind. Now with this one, you can do, it has like lots of different varying activities. I like this one, and I use it solely in my homeschool as far as oral exercises. So we are reciting the definitions of a noun, a pronoun, a verb, an adverb, adjective. Like those are the kinds of things that we're focusing on. We are reading and memorizing poetry in this. We are looking at artwork and studying it and being able to answer some questions based off the piece of artwork. We are listening to like fables and short stories and gauging how well my child can pick up from those stories by asking them some questions when I'm done reading the short story. So this one I like. It aligns very well with the classical model. We do classical conversations at home and recite our memory work with that. So this aligns well with that, and just keeping some of the definitions and things, you know, knowing what a noun is, what is a pronoun, what is a verb, and just talking about those things. But this really is like a 5 to 10 minute just oral exercise. We talk about things, we recite things, we chant things. But we're not doing any writing or anything necessarily like that in this. There are opportunities for that where it'll say, if you want to do a dictation exercise or some copy work. So here's an example right here. It says copy work. I don't do that. And from this, I have something else that's covering like our writing and our reading. This is merely just another way of kind of talking about some of the grammar of language, you know, verb and adverb, adjective, and reciting those and just doing some oral exercises. So I do like that. Actually, if you want to see a peek into these books, I have a video where I walk through the different levels of first language lessons. So you can go ahead and check that video out if you're interested. All right. The main part of our language is Abeka. So we do Abeka for up through grade 3 for language. And we're really using it for our phonics, our reading, our writing, and our spelling. So this is the parent guide. Again, it's very similar to the Saxon Math. It's a spiral approach. It's black and white. It's not fancy or colorful or anything, but it kind of goes through the lesson as far as what you're going to teach and what you need to review. Again, I'm not reading it word for word. I'm using it as a guide. It is my guide. It's working for me. If I want to do something, if I feel my child is ready for something, I teach it. If it's not really working, or, you know, kind of in the timeline of how I want to teach it, then we don't really follow it exactly. So I'm not a slave to it. It's working for me. but it is kind of guiding where I'm going and what I feel my child is ready to learn. So I am using this as the basic guide for going over those things, the phonics, the language, the reading, and the spelling. So you'll see I have a couple of these things to show you of what we have, but you're going to notice one thing. I had this since my oldest, so I've used this for my previous 2 kids. And a lot of these have actually since changed. So Abeka did an overhaul of their curriculum, and Abeka's kind of expensive, if I'm honest, and I did not want to repurchase all of the teacher guides. I already had something. Well, I found this to be true this past year with my current 3rd grader, but the worksheets weren't matching up with the lessons in my lesson book. And I didn't want to go out and buy a new one, so I didn't. But we're able to kind of work through it, and while the lesson isn't necessarily matching up with the worksheet, we may do. So I just do, like, if you ever find, you can find things on, homeschool curriculum, sale sites, or find used, that these are no longer matching up with the current worksheets. But being that I've taught it before, I'm okay with doing that. I feel like we can mesh it together some way. Abeka has done a good job of putting some of the key things that you learned on the worksheet. So a lot of times I'm just using the worksheet as what I'm teaching for that day, and then we have some exercises to reinforce it. So I did just want to make that disclaimer. If you're buying some parts used, like the guides or the parent guide, they may not match up to the new worksheet. So you'll see here, I have these too. So you're going to see, I don't have these open. So I like to buy, they have a new option where you can buy it unbound. So I like to buy them unbound because my kids do not like to write in the notebooks that are really difficult to keep them open. They're constantly wanting to close. So you're going to see, I don't even have these open yet because they're not, once I open them, my papers are going to go flying everywhere. So I buy the unbound version, but basically they're just worksheets where they're reinforcing the topics that we're going over, but you're going to see that they are not matching up here. The fronts are new. So I'm gonna make it do. And it's gonna have to work because I'm just not gonna go buy a new parent guide. So just be aware of that. But here you can see this is the writing with phonics. So we will be introducing some cursive this year. I know some people like to start with it from the very get-go. I just didn't want to. I don't have really any other reason that I thought I wanted to start with manuscripts and then we would move into cursive. So that's what we're doing. And then this will really focus on the phonics and, building words and making sure we have all of the, phonics application, the sentence structure, language development, just all of those different things. So he'll basically have 2 worksheets per lesson. One was going to be focusing more on his cursive, and this one's going to be focusing more on the rules and the phonics and the application of the things that we are learning. The other thing that kind of goes hand in hand with that is we have the spelling notebook. This just kind of gives you a list of words to do, and then he'll have a list of words. And then we will have a notebook where he's going to write those words in a list form and do some activities with them, whether it be write them in a pretty brief and easy sentence. But he will have this. So as long as this spelling curriculum seems to work for him, we will continue. If we find that we have some snags and troubles with it, we'll be looking for something else. So I do have one of my kiddos who uses a different spelling program because that's what works for him. So we're just going to give this a try. We did do Abeka for grade 1 spelling, and he seems to be doing okay with it. He's kind of my type A perfectionist kiddo, so we're just going to continue with it. We'll see how it goes next year. I'll have to keep you updated. All right, the last thing with it is this letters and sounds. So these are the tests and the test keys that basically just are testing over phonics. Can you spell this word based on the things that we have learned, the rules that we've learned, the special sounds that we've learned. So it's factored into the parent guide as far as however many lessons he'll have of phonics tests. So we use these tests, and then I have the test key as well. So that is all that we will do for language. Essentially, every day he's going to have one lesson from our first language lessons, which is all oral. We'll just talk about it, recite some things, and then he will have his Abeka one, which will really just be where I cover the new thing that we're going to be doing, and he'll probably have 2 worksheets to go with that for that day. One focusing on cursive handwriting, and the other one focusing on the application of the grammar and the phonics rules that we've learned that day. That's pretty much it. So like I said, that's what we're covering for math and language, and that's it. He's gonna be covering all of those extras, the history and the science. We'll be doing that together as a family. I will be making a video of that coming soon, so you can be on the lookout. As always, guys, if you have any questions over anything that I've showed you, I would be happy to answer them for you. So just drop the questions or comments below, and I'll get to them as soon as I can. And until next time, guys, have a blessed day. All right, today I have my blue boy here. If you can't tell, he's always in his Cubs hat and always dressed in blue, but I'm going to introduce him and ask him a couple of questions. So can you tell everybody your name?
My name is Ezra.
And how old are you, Ezra?
I'm 6.
But for next year, how old will you be?
7.
7. And what grade are you going into?
2nd grade.
2nd grade. And what is your favorite part or favorite time of day as far as school is concerned? Your favorite subject?
In school?
Yeah, in school.
Language.
Language, okay. If not in school, what's your favorite thing to do during the day?
Probably play Matchbox cars.
Okay, play with Matchbox cars. We are in a big kick with cars in our household. All right, can you tell everyone thanks for watching?
Thanks for watching.
Say we'll see you next time.
I'll see you next time.
All right, bye guys.